Good morning, boys and girls. This is Miss Nancy coming to you from the Upper Chichester Library in Upper Chichester, Pennsylvania. I'm all ready to read some stories to you, and I hope you're ready to listen to some as well. The stories that I'm going to read today mostly are about summer vacation, but I did think I would start off with this storybook about firefighters. It was written by Norma Simon and illustrated by Pam Paparone. And it was dedicated to the brave and caring firefighters who live in Wellfleet, which is up in New England. When the fire bell rings, firefighters stop whatever they are doing. They slide down the fire pole one after the other, pull on heavy pants, pull on heavy boots, put on heavy coats, put on their hats, and up on the trucks they go. Open the firehouse doors, start the engines, and off they go. As you can see, we have a brick firehouse here and two fire trucks here. And this is one of the ladder trucks. Cars hear the sirens wailing and wailing. Pull to the side of the road and stop. Let the fire trucks roar by. Firefighters work hard. Fighting fires is their work. Turn on the hoses. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Out shoots the water. Up go the ladders. Up go the firefighters. Firefighters wear masks to help them breathe through the smoke. They search upstairs and downstairs to get everyone out. They don't want to leave anyone behind. After the firefighters put out the fire, with everyone safe and sound and warm, their hard work is done for that morning. You can see they're putting some blankets around some of the people they rescued from the building. And usually an ambulance will come with some medics on it as well to take care of any medical issues that some of the people who have been rescued might have. Time to look around and time to ask questions. How did this fire start to burn? Firefighters search all around the fire, poking and checking, asking questions about what started it. They pack up their ladders and tools, up go the hoses into the trucks. They drive back slowly, no sirens now. I know that my grandson in Boston lives very close to a fire company, and he loves to see all the fire engines come out. And they come out, and the firemen don't always have to go chasing to fires, but they do have to keep their fire engines clean and ready to go. So we come and watch them. We walk over to the fire engine house, and we watch them clean and prepare the trucks for the next time they'll need them. Down from the trucks come the tired firefighters. Pants and coats go up on hooks. Boots stand in a straight row. Hats sit on a long hat shelf. Everything goes back in its place. It's time to rest. Firefighters eat in the firehouse kitchen. Let's see, what are they having for dinner? Well, it looks like they had a salad, and this looks like it could be a pork roast. Then it is time to wash the fire trucks and wind up the hoses. Time to clean the breathing masks and check out every tank. Make everything ready to fight the next fire when it comes. There are always firefighters in the firehouse, night or day, ready to go when the bell rings. Open the firehouse doors, start the engines. They are on their way. And there they have their hoses. They go to the fire hydrant to get the water that they need to douse the flames. And that is the end of that story. Now the next one is about summer vacation when the relatives come to visit. This is a Caldecott honor book as well, and it's a story by Cynthia Rylant, and it's illustrated by Stephen Gamel. And it was written for the young lady's Aunt Agnes and her children. It was in the summer of the year when the relatives came. They came up from Virginia. They left when their grapes were nearly purple enough to pick, but not quite. They had an old station wagon that smelled like a real car, and in it they put an ice chest full of soda pop, and some boxes of crackers, and some bologna sandwiches, and up they came from Virginia. They left at 4 in the morning when it was still dark, before even the birds were awake. They drove all day long and into the night, and while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their almost purple grapes back home. They thought about Virginia, but they thought about us too, waiting for them. See, it looks like they're driving over some mountains, and Virginia does have a lot of mountains. So they drank up all their soda pop, they ate up all their crackers, and traveled up all those miles until finally they pulled into our yard. See, they're going to be greeted by their relatives. It looks like everybody's very happy to see each other. Lots of hugs. Then it was hugging time. Talk about hugging. Those relatives just passed us all around their car, pulling us against their wrinkled Virginia clothes, crying sometimes. They hugged us for hours. I think they're really happy to see each other, don't you? Then it was into the house, and so much laughing and shining faces and hugging in the doorways. You'd have to go through at least 4 different hugs to get from the kitchen to the front room. Those relatives. They were great huggers. I think they all missed each other. Finally, after a big supper, 2 or 3 times around until we got a turn at the table, there was quiet talk, and we were in 2s and 3s through the house. Yes, I remember when our relatives came from a farm in southern Delaware, we had to take turns at the table too, because our table wasn't big enough to hold everybody. So that we would have usually 2 rounds of dinner served. The relatives weren't particular about the beds or where they slept, which was good, since there weren't any extras. So a few squeezed in with us, and the rest slept on the floor, some with their arms thrown over the closest person, and some with an arm across one person and a leg across another. I don't know if any of you have ever gone on vacation with your family, but sometimes, I remember with my sisters when we went on vacation, we 3 girls would all crowd into one bed. It was different going to sleep with all the new breathing in the house. See, all the people on the floor were sharing a bed. The relatives stayed for weeks and weeks. They helped us tend the garden, and they fixed any broken things that they could find. And it looks like they also played games. Cut their hair, helped in the garden. They ate up all of our strawberries and melons, then promised we could eat up all their grapes and peaches when we came to visit them in Virginia. It does look like they're having a good time, and it looks like they're playing music together too. We have a guitar, a banjo, and a violin. And the three together make good hillbilly music. But none of us thought about Virginia much. We were so busy hugging and eating and breathing together. It does look like quite a family gathering. Finally, after a long time, the relatives loaded up their ice chest and headed back to Virginia at 4 in the morning. We stood there in our pajamas and waved them off in the dark. We watched the relatives disappear down the road. Then we crawled back into our beds that felt too big and too quiet, and we fell asleep. I'm sure they missed all the relatives. And the relatives drove on all day long and into the night, and while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and the different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. And when they were finally home in Virginia, they crawled into their silent, soft beds and dreamed about the next summer when they would come back to visit. And that is the end of this story. Now I'm just going to have a little drink of water. As I've told you before, reading out loud makes me thirsty. Now this next story is about Fletcher and the summer show. This is written by Julia Rawlinson and Tiffany Beek. Doesn't really tell me who illustrated it, but it was written by these two young ladies. And I really like the illustrations. They looked like they were watercolored. It was a sun-baked summer's day, and the wood was sleepy in the heat. Fletcher lay in the shade of a tree, watching sunlight dancing on the leaves and lazily listening to the soft sounds of summer. He could hear birds singing in the trees, frogs croaking in the pond, crickets chirping in the grass, and a sad snuffling sound. Fletcher looked around, and there, amongst the ferns, was a very small rabbit. "What's wrong?" asked Fletcher. "I'm hopeless," sniffed the rabbit. "The birds can sing, the frogs can croak, the crickets can chirp, and I can't do anything." "Well, maybe you can learn," said Fletcher. "Let's ask the birds." The birds were chirping high in the sun-dappled branches. Fletcher called up to ask them to teach Rabbit to sing. "Open your beak and trill," said the birds. "But I haven't got a beak," said Rabbit. "Try opening your mouth," said Fletcher, but no trill came out. "Frogs don't have beaks," said Fletcher. "I'm sure they will help." The frogs were croaking in their pond, deep in a shady glade. Fletcher crouched down and asked them to teach Rabbit to croak. "Puff out your throat," said the frogs, but Rabbit's throat wouldn't puff. "Try puffing out your cheeks," said Fletcher, but that was not noisy enough. "Crickets don't have beaks or puffy cheeks," said Fletcher. "Don't give up." Fletcher and Rabbit hurried from the shady wood into the buttercup meadow, where the crickets were chirping in the sun. "Rub your wings together," said the crickets. "But I haven't got any wings," said Rabbit. "Try rubbing your arms," said Fletcher, but that didn't work. "It's no good," sighed Rabbit. "I'm too fluffy to chirp." Fletcher and Rabbit flopped down in the cool shade of a tree. "I'm sorry I couldn't help," said Fletcher, gazing up at the leaves. They lay quietly side by side, watching the patterns of dark and light, until their eyes began to close and they fell fast asleep. While they slept, the sun moved slowly through the cloudless sky. Shadows stretched silently across the grassy ground. Little by little, a golden shaft of sunlight crept over them. As you can see. So, when he woke, Fletcher felt as though he was spotlit on a stage. "That's it," he cried. "Wake up, Rabbit. We're going to put on a show." "But what could I do in a show?" asked Rabbit, rubbing her eyes. "Bounce," said Fletcher. "You're the best bouncer in the wood." As news of the show spread, the sleepy wood came to life, filled with the sound of singing and busy bouncing feet. Squirrel went hunting for sweet, wild strawberries. The mice in the meadow made daisy chains. See the daisy chain? Hedgehog gathered pricklefuls of velvety petals. A hedgehog has a lot of prickles on the back. And Fletcher fetched honeysuckle to decorate the stage. As the day began to fade, the animals gathered, murmuring excitedly, ready for the show. When at last the crowd fell silent, nightingales began to sing, moth wings flickered, and the cricket band played. Glowworms cast their gentle light onto the stage, and you can see everybody gathered to watch the show. Oh, here comes Rabbit. Out bounced Rabbit, glowing pink with pride. She flipped and flopped, hopped and tumbled all around the stage. The more the crowd cheered, the higher Rabbit leapt, until with a triumphant twirl, she waved for her friends to join her. When Squirrel juggled, the mice skipped, the frogs croaked, the hedgehog rolled as the sun set in a fiery golden blaze. When the last act took their bow, the animals clapped and called Fletcher onto the stage. Fletcher stepped out over the sea of smiling faces. "Oh, no," he gulped. "I've been so busy I haven't planned anything." "But you have," cried his friends. "You've planned this magical summer night." The cricket bands struck up again, and the animals began to dance as the first stars sparkled brightly in the darkening sky. And that is a great end to this story. You can see the silver moon, the silver stars, and all the little forest animals having a grand time. I just want to remind you, all of these books that I read to you are available in the Upper Chichester Library, so you can come in and borrow them anytime you like. Now, the last story I'm going to read today is by Mercer Mayer, and it's called Grandma, Grandpa, and Me. There's a lot of different stories written by Mercer Mayers about these little critters. Tonight, I'm sleeping over at Grandma and Grandpa's house. I brought lots of fun toys for Grandma and Grandpa to play with. See, he's got a whole bag full. He's bringing, looks like it's 2 bags full of his toys, as well as his teddy bear. And it looks like his grandparents live on a farm. Now, I don't know if any of you have grandparents or relatives who live on a farm, but when I was growing up, my grandfather lived on a farm, as did a number of my aunts and uncles. So they had barns with haylofts that we used to play in. It was fun going to see them on the farm. I got to sleep in a big bed all by myself until it started to thunder and lightning. Then Grandma and Grandpa wanted me to sleep with them because they don't like thunderstorms. I bet it was the little critter who wanted to go sleep with them because he's probably afraid of thunderstorms. We woke up really early because Grandma and I were going to make a pie to enter in a contest at the county fair. We had lots to do to get ready. Now, I don't know if any of you have been to county fairs, but many counties, particularly in farming areas, do have county fairs in the summertime where they show off all of their wonderful baked goods. First, I helped Grandpa milk the cows. I held the bucket really tight, but the milk spilled just a little. Oh my, looks like it spilled a lot. Then I went to the hen house to get some eggs. "Hello, hens," I said. Cluck, 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 cluck went the hens. That's how hens say hello, you know. And here they are. He's gathering their eggs. Here's a little basket full of eggs. Here's a nest full of eggs. Then Grandpa and I played ring toss. Well, did I skip a page? No. Doesn't look like I skipped a page. Okay. Anyway, it looks like they're at the fair now. Then Grandpa and I played ring toss, and I won a prize, and this was at the fair. We went to the fun house, and after that, Grandpa played a game to test his strength. I had to help him a little. And this is where you take a big heavy mallet and hit something to make this weight move up there and hit the gong, just to see how strong you are. That's the sort of thing you might find at a county fair, as well as milk bottles lined up for a ring toss. Then it was time for the pie judging contest. The judges tasted all the pies, and I tasted them too. Guess who won? It's called the Great Bake Off. Grandma. She gave me the blue ribbon for being such a good helper. I told Grandma I knew our pie would taste the best because it had the most love in it. When we all got home, we all flew our kites. We had a really fun day, Grandma, Grandpa, and me. So that is the end of our stories for today, but I wanted to save some time to discuss with you all the upcoming events we have for this summer. We have our family fun nights, we have our reading program, and we have our STEM summer program. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about each one of them because I hope you'll come and join us here at the library for some of these. You can sign up at the library for our summer kickoff event. Register for our summer reading club. It's called Reading Through or Reading Beyond the Beaten Path. If you read one book or read for 60 minutes, you can win prizes all summer long. You can sign up after June 1st and then win prizes all the way through August 31st. You'll have a reading log to fill out. Now, this would be for your older brothers and sisters. It's from kindergarten through 5th grade. I certainly hope you'll let them know about our summer reading program. We're also having family fun nights, and that's going to be at the Kingsman Road Park which is going to be the site of our new library. That will be on Wednesday nights at 6:30, and there will be 8 of these fun nights altogether throughout June and July. And the first one starts June 8th. And Jungle John is going to join us for this kickoff party, and we can enjoy some exciting adventures with Jungle John. There will be all the other nights will have special people and special events as well. The Delaware Museum of Science and Nature is coming. We're going to have Buzz About Bees with Warren Graham and learn the importance of bees with our local beekeeper. Officer Elu is going to come with her partner dog, and we will have a glimpse at how special her dog is and how helpful he is in rescuing people. Mr. Andrew is going to come for one night, and then the Lenni Lenape are going to bring Native American Heritage Program to Family Fun Night. We'll learn all about the history of the Lenni Lenape with this amazing presentation. And then, at the very end, we will have an ice cream party. One other thing that's going to be happening throughout the summer is that Mr. Andrew will be at Kingsman Park on Tuesdays at 10:30. So come enjoy the music with him. The park program will run as long as weather permits. So those are some of the things that will be involved in here, and I do hope that you and your brothers and sisters will be involved as much as possible. Goodbye for now. See you next week.